Hi, my fellow Americans. I'm Dr. Stephen Clark Bradley, and this is what I think. This is video 4 of the series that we're doing about the coming color revolution that's going to be thrust against all Americans and against our President Donald J. Trump after the November 3rd election. They've already said they will not accept or allow a second Trump administration to take place. And we have got to make sure that we protect our commander-in-chief so that he can protect us. They have said that they are going to drag him out of the Oval Office and that they will not allow him to take up his second administration. We will drag them onto the streets and into prison. We must stand up. We must be willing to fight because this is serious. This is not some conspiracy theory. This is being planned right now as we speak. And for the most part, it's already been planned completely and just waiting to be implemented for someone to give the word. That someone is probably George Soros, who's paid for the whole damn thing. So we were talking in the last video about a group called the Momentum Community. The Momentum Community was created to bring all these different fringe groups, these socialist, fascist groups together into one so that they could plan out what is exactly coming to pass very soon unless we stop it, unless we can win with an absolute landslide victory for Donald J. Trump. If we can get a landslide out of this election, there's nothing they can do except really start a war, and that's okay. So that's why I said earlier, keep your powder dry, keep your cartridges loaded, and keep your car full of gas, because we may need you in different places at a very certain time. And we're going to fight. We cannot let them have our country. And I'm sure you agree with me. We cannot let that happen. The Momentum Community and all these groups that meet together in that group, they get their whole momentum, as they call it, from the 20th century revolutionary movements. One of them was in Russia during the Soviet Revolution. They took the government that was functioning and they made it look terrible, and they overtook the country. Cuba was another one. We've heard these people talking about during the time of Castro's revolution. Everybody was behind him until they had nothing to eat, until they had no money, no jobs, no property. That's exactly what's going to happen here. They want to turn everybody against our Constitution, against our republic, and against the people's will, Donald J. Trump as our president. The color revolutions of Eastern Europe that took place are the basic examples that these people want to follow as they seek to implement the same thing here on the streets of the United States of America. They're already doing it. This whole thing we've seen for the last 5 months have been, basically practice, a dry run, a practice run, if you will, of what they have planned in mass. We saw in the last video how it was said that we have to go out day after day, night after night, until we have millions of people on the streets, until these people have all stepped down. Donald Trump will never step down. That's ridiculous. If he was going to step down, he had every reason to do it already in his first term. Of course. Just ridiculous. So, and neither will we, by the way. They use the Arab Spring as another motivating factor for them to how they seek to implement their agenda here through a color revolution. The Arab Spring was a creation of Barack Obama. If you really study that whole situation, the goal of the Arab Spring was to destroy Israel. It really was. If you look at every nation that we supported in the Arab Spring, we brought down Mubarak from Egypt, who had made peace with Israel, and implemented the Muslim Brotherhood and their president until he was taken out by the military. We destroyed Libya, that had made peace with America, they had destroyed their nuclear program and made peace. And they were interested in peace with Israel. But then we destroyed them in the Arab Spring. All these nations, and then Syria we tried it. all of those nations encircling Israel. So the Arab Spring was Barack Obama's own color revolution against Israel, but it failed. And it would always fail because Israel's the people of God, and we believe that. They will drive home that the voting results on November 3rd are all going to be falsified. On election night, they will start putting out these are falsified votes. You know what's smart is Donald Trump is doing it before they did. He's letting his people, and many who would never have voted for Trump, I know by him telling how they're using the ballot system, the mass mail-in ballots. They will choose to vote for Trump because even Americans who don't like Trump still love America. I think they're wrong. I think they're missing the point. You know, we're not voting for a man's personality. We're voting for a man who's strong enough and tough enough and smart enough and energetic enough to protect the country, not Joe Biden, who possesses none of those qualities. So they're using all these things, and this is where the preparation turns into action. And so the next step they're doing, and it's already being done, over 1 million votes have already been cast for the presidential election, or for the whole November 3rd election, through mass mail-in voting. Now, there is a difference between, requesting a ballot and receiving a ballot without a request. If I want to get an absentee ballot, I have to call in to the courthouse or wherever in that state they do that, and I have to sign and I have to say, send this to me, and I requested that ballot. That's my ballot. It can be mailed in safely. But what's going on in Nevada and New York and New Jersey and Pennsylvania are mass mail-in ballots to people who've never requested it. Some people receiving 2, 3, or 4 ballots for the same person. They've found some of these ballots already in ditches, most of them for Trump. Also, they've already found military ballots that were cast into the garbage can. So this is what's already going on. Mass mail-in ballots are a way, the only way, as Donald Trump says, and I agree with him, that he can lose this election. Americans are not stupid. We're not stupid. We're not going to vote for this frizzled old man who can't even recite the Pledge of Allegiance accurately. He said 2 days ago that he was elected into the U.S. Senate 188 years ago. I mean, it's just, I shouldn't laugh, because I might end up there myself one day. I hope not. But right now, I'm not running for president, and he is. So Americans are not stupid. They wouldn't vote for this man. So the only way Trump can lose is through this ballot system that's been absolutely, condemnable on the Democrat-Socialist Party's behalf, because they are absolutely corrupting the election. And it can never be said that it was a fair election, whatever. So now, the reason they're doing this, if Trump loses, they won't accept his complaints. But if Trump wins, because of the mass mail-in ballots, they can say that the ballots and the votes were not fair. So this is their way of winning, even when Trump wins. They think they can win. It's their way of trying to get rid of him by saying the election was a fraud, even though they're the ones that caused it and called for it. This is part of a color revolution. This is why Bernie Sanders and Chuck Schumer also made it public, in case Donald Trump does not step down, that they will send in the military to take him out, because they'll be able to say so even if he wins, because the ballots were not easily counted and that they were not sent out correctly, that it's a fraudulent election, and they will try to take out Donald Trump that way. When a color revolution begins, the independent media will flood citizens with fake news about falsified votes. That's what's going to happen as this election goes forward. This will happen after election night, because they know already. They know Biden's not going to win. Come on. Biden's just a weak old man. He's not going to win. I'm sure that's why Kamala Harris is not out speaking. She's like, why am I wasting my time? I'm not going to win. Their purpose for being there is, just as I said before, to be a pipeline to bring in the socialist system into the U.S. government and to destroy the Constitution. But they know Trump's going to win, so they send out all these ballots. And if by happenstance Biden somehow did win, they could say, no, it's fair. It's fair. But if, as expected, Trump wins this election, they can say, oh, it's unfair because the ballots were falsified. So either way, they can get what they want, they think, in any way they want it. So it's very important. The Daily Beast. According to the Daily Beast, a coalition of leading progressive groups gathered on Zoom to begin organizing, one, for the post-election day political apocalypse scenario. And two, the nightmare is being caused by the Democratic Party right now. They are planning for what will take place after Trump wins. And they will send out millions of their hordes, of their evil socialist hordes and thugs, and scare people to death. In Color Revolution, they do this in a way that causes people to wear them out, to beat them down, so that they finally relent and say, okay, we relent, you can have the president, we won't fight. Not Americans. I don't believe America can do that. That spells destruction of the nation, and we will never survive it. There'll be a war like we could never have before. It will make war against Germany look little. It will make the Civil War of the past look like a picnic in comparison, because we will not allow it. We just will not allow it. So we've got to be willing to fight it. You want to know something that's really scary? If this gets caught up into Congress, if there's not a president by January 20th, Nancy Pelosi becomes president. That has something to do with it too. As we've seen in the COVID situation, once the government gets power, they never easily give it up. They never easily step down. Do you really think if Nancy Pelosi became acting president that she would actually finally step down? She wouldn't. She'd find way after way after way to stay there. I mean, even during the impeachment, she found how many different ways to delay everything from going forward after the impeachment was done in the House. So if she becomes acting president, she might stay for 4 years, find ways to do. And you know what's sad? Though it would be easy to find laws against what she would be doing, the media would support her. They would make it look like she's doing the right thing. They would call her a hero. They would write her in the history books as someone who saved the nation against Donald Trump. So we can see what's going on now. And so I can tell you, this is what's going to take place as we wrap this up. First of all, these ballots have been sent out. And if Trump wins, they'll say they were falsified. And if Biden wins, they'll say they were right. Either way, the Democrats think they can win. Secondly, after Trump wins and they cry out fake ballots, false ballots, fraud, when Trump refuses to step down, they are all ready and willing and poised to send out their mass hoodlum troops into the streets, just like it was said by that anti-fascist group, to send them out day after day, after night, in the millions, until these people all step down. That's called a coup d'etat. That's what they're planning. Now, about the ballots. In New York, in Detroit, they still don't know who really won. And those are small elections. They have no idea who really won. And it's going to be maybe a month before we know, maybe longer. And if we don't know by January 20th, evil Nancy Pelosi will become acting president of the United States. Acting permanent president of the United States. Isn't that a scary thought? You know how to stop that? Vote for Donald Trump. Let's give him a landslide victory. I mean, the man deserves it, doesn't he? Look how much he's done for the country. If he doesn't have a landslide victory, one that cannot be denied or disputed, this is what we're going to face. Many people will die during this revolution, this color revolution, because we will not relent. We will not give up our president. If we give up our president, we give up our country. It's over. It will not come back. And we will fight it as long as it takes. What are you willing to do? And what are you not willing to do? I'm willing to lay down my life for my country. For doing so, I'm doing it for my children, my posterity, and their children, my grandkids. I'm willing to risk going to prison. I'm willing to do what it takes to do my part, large or small, to stand up for the United States of America according to the Constitution that formed it. I'm not getting anything out of these videos. I get a lot of enjoyment, and I get a lot of confidence, and I feel that in my own small way, I'm doing my part. But I get nothing else out of it. I'm doing it for you, because I think you need to know about these things. You need to do for your fellow man, your fellow sister, brother in America, that we don't lose the last best hope of humankind, that this continues to remain on the earth, that our nation will not perish from the earth as a free people. Ronald Reagan said, freedom, the loss of freedom is never one generation away. How easy it is to lose it. And this time, it's not even 1 month away. This is what's going to happen unless we're willing to fight. First, fight in prayer. Get on our knees and ask God to spare our nation. Just like Abraham said about Sodom and Gomorrah, if there's 10 righteous people, Lord, spare the nation. We need to pray that God spare America from the war, the death, the destruction that will ensue if we're not willing to fight and not willing to vote for Donald Trump, because he's the only one going to protect you. There's nobody else. Can you think of anyone else? Will Kamala Harris protect you? We need to be willing to stand up. So, my fellow Americans, as I end this series, the war is out there. It's being planned right now. It's being planned. It's ready to be implemented. On November, the night of November 3rd, when Donald Trump has won, you watch and see what hits the streets. You think Portland has looked bad? How about Portland all over the country? This is what they're planning. Are you ready? Are you willing to fight back? When they come to your house and demand your property? When they come to your restaurant where you're eating outside and turn over your tables? When they throw bombs into your car that you're driving and burn you alive? When they burn down your business? When they stop you from having any freedom whatsoever? Are you ready for that? I'm not ready to endure that. I ask you all, get out and vote. It's the most important thing you will ever do. I know not all of you will vote for Donald Trump. Some of you will mistakenly vote for the Democrats because you've done it all your life. It's time to walk away and walk towards freedom again. The Democrat Party, which my father was all his life, he walked away way before Trump because he saw way back in Reagan's time what they were becoming. You need to walk away and vote for Trump. Like him, don't like him, believe me, he's going to protect you, your business, your family, your future, your lives, your nation. Please think, vote, and get out and do the right thing. Now you know, America. What will you do?